have control over
Okay, I didn't
state
know
when the
that.
state gives them to us. That'd be okay.
That makes sense now. Okay.
And that was, in this one that we had to do today was kind of a unique situation. It's a special event. It's a wedding. So honestly, I don't know that that's ever happened before, that we've had to do it right away.
It's a cash.
The only, there's a cash bar.
Yeah.
There's a map on the back of where they're gonna.
So,
Where the bar's gonna be set up.
since we do have a Class C liquor license on the agenda, I don't think it's a big deal to add Carroll Bowl to that. I can pass this.
Well,
around.
what I was getting at, you know,
Kind of like just a subsection.
when we don't have anything going on, I just
I know.
have it just for.
I will add the addition.
Well, the only other impromptu one I remember was one.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
That
Dave,
was real. impromptu.
just a heads up, I'm gonna hold off on this till after Brita.
Let's say that.
What's that?
The round tables in Breda Wednesday night is $15 for the meal with them.
So, you know, I had a prior commitment, so I will be the only elected official that's not at that meeting. I'm very sorry, I'm missing.
Golf lake, more important.
No, it is not golf. It is family, so.
Your family's going golfing, is that what you said?
No, they are not.
Just kidding.
No, I actually was gonna go, and then I saw the bill, I'm like, oh gosh, everybody's going, I better go, and then I looked at my calendar, I'm like,
Did he bill everybody's then?
we paid Steph's, because she gave it to us, but everybody else's was on the bill.
Oh, I put mine.
I told him I was gonna put,
Well, yeah. I
We got an invoice
For the round table.
for it.
Okay,
Oh.
I asked her if she wanted me to pay for it or just hand it in. I'm like, it'd be nice just to send a check for all of us.
Yeah, so we sent one for you, and then we'll send one for everybody else.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone.
yeah, going into that. This was,
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections?
I want to make a motion to change the agenda to add Coon Bowl,
Carol.
Carroll Bowl to the liquor license approval.
you'll have to say.
I'll second.
I didn't know. if we would catch it or
All right,
not.
there's been a motion and a second to add approved Class C liquor license under item number 2 for Carroll Bowl. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Were you looking to see who? You looked confused there for a second.
Did I didn't mean.
He motioned, he said.
Yeah, I got that. My confusion must have been something else.
All right. Approval of the minutes for August 22nd, 2022.
She did something with me.
I was so
That
moved
way, I look at it.
that I thought they were read well. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, first item on the agenda is to approve treasurer's semi-annual report. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Pretty black and white, shows the beginning, balances from January 1. And then the revenues that we took in, expenses that were paid, and then the items that are still outstanding, like checks and stuff that haven't cleared, and then your ending balances. I went through all the accounts that we kind of manage and followed up to make sure they match with what we had on record, and they do. Depending on Courtney did the same. So if you have any questions.
Being this is up and refresh me, what's this? What do we do with this brucellosis, tuberculosis?
So state levy. So it's on our property taxes.
So that money goes back to the state then? But we don't do anything with the local. do we?
No.
I mean, I don't know what they fund up with it anymore.
I don't know. I just know that we
I
forward. what we
mean, a lot of
collect
that's
and
been,
Pretty minimal, but
okay, I was just wondering. So I've never seen any expenses come through before, that's
No.
why. Okay,
But there are expenses,
well, that's
sending it back.
when,
When
yeah.
you
We collect it and then, I don't know, how often do you do that every
Every
quarter?
6 months,
6
yeah.
months,
Okay.
okay.
I was gonna say, I didn't see it, I've never seen any action for this board, that's why I was asking about it. I've been wanting to ask that for many years. If no one else has anything else, I will make a motion to accept the treasurer center annual report.
I will second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
You too.
Take care.
All right, the second item on the agenda is to approve Class C liquor license. We have one here for Hy-Vee. And we also have one for the Carroll Bowl.
You want a motion separately for those?
No, you can make a motion for both. of them.
I'll make that motion to approve those liquor licenses for Hy-Vee and Carroll.
For Heidi's one day. then. I'll second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next item on the agenda is the Maple River Mount Carmel Town Hall meeting discussion.
I guess I can go ahead and start that kind of discussion. But I've gotten a lot of calls, and I think Zach has too, over the last at least 2-3 years, about road repairs that need to be done in Maple River and Mount Carmel, more so probably in Maple River. Zach's done some work and pulled up some numbers. So we've got, he's ready to go and have meetings. And I think the best way to do this is you can talk to these individuals till you're blue in the face until you really have a conversation with them. I don't think this is going to go away. And so I think we came up with the idea of having a town hall meeting, and it's probably not a bad idea once in a while to have these with our at least 2 of our unincorporated communities, and because they're going to have more to say, and that's why I invited Carrie to come up as well, to be part of it, so that she can answer any questions if there are on the sewer systems. So
Does anybody want to see? Because I have those right here. If you guys need a refresher.
What are the questions on the sewer systems? Because
we don't have any.
I mean, we redid the one at Maple River, the financing side of that, and I thought everybody was pretty happy with that.
I think so, and I think they are. And I think they're probably, we've done Carrie and through our new guy up in Mount Carmel, Supervisor. I think things are going well there. But there's probably going to be questions anyway,
I think the only problem we have is once fall up Mount Carmel, we've got some people that were replacing pumps more for.
on a regular basis, yeah.
We haven't had that in a while.
Was that
The
a-
problem people kind of moved out.
I think one of them is still
there. now, are they?
But maybe.
I think they have fewer people in the house.
It wasn't a particular company we were having trouble with the pumps from, was it? It was
No.
just,
No, it was one stitch.
it was being taxed more than it was designed to do.
Flushing things that shouldn't have been flushed.
And when we addressed that situation several years ago about all the problems that were going on, Supervisor, they did a really good job of clearing those issues up, I think, and there were some issues that went back actually to when it was installed, where it actually didn't fit up, and so it wasn't really going anywhere. It was going And so we
Leaching
found
out.
some of those, yeah. So I think it was a really good thing. I think we moved some, I know there were individuals who, whenever there was a big rain, they had sewer coming up in the basement. And we addressed that, and I don't think I heard anything.
Well, there was one that
Right,
never did anything with, but I haven't heard that he's had any issues.
right.
So
So I-
it's big time basement renovation type situations in order to remedy it.
So there were some situations back then, and I think we pretty much took care of them, but I think there are gonna be questions anyway, and we might as well address those while we got everybody on the ground.
Do you have any dates in mind?
Carrie has difficulties with this time of the year with Wednesdays. And the other days I was thinking about were Tuesdays.
Like a Tuesday evening?
You think there's enough conversation and questions, we need to split it up to roads and then sewer, 2 different meetings,
I
or
don't
try to
know.
accomplish it all at once?
All at once.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that'd be meeting 4 times.
Yeah.
This way we could meet 2 times. That's probably gonna be enough.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
gonna
not
wanna
worried about the
do-
meeting, I just don't want it to drag out into 4 hours on the sewer and
Yeah.
then have 4 hours to go. on
No,
the road.
I don't think we're gonna bring up the sewer. I think we're gonna bring up roads.
Okay,
And then if anybody has any
okay,
questions.
no, and I have no problem with addressing it, if
Yeah,
you have to have a
yeah.
question, it's just,
There's probably even gonna be more stuff that we don't even know. There's probably gonna be trees, there were signs at the last meeting, if you recall,
yeah,
the trucks that were going up.
speed limits and signs were
Sure.
an issue.
So those things might come up too.
Yeah.
I haven't
And
So
that-
do you want to do one night Maple River, one night Mount Carmel? Split
One night.
that up?
Yeah, one night Maple River, one night Mount Carmel.
I think that's probably.
I think that's fair.
Just keep it to
Are
one
Thursday nights
community.
open too?
Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean, is it just Tuesday night that we got?
No, Thursday night would be okay. I know one individual said that his wife works late on Thursdays. And so that would have been an issue, but I don't think we can not schedule it. Because of one individual.
Zach and Carrie, it sounds like.
Right.
Yeah.
Their schedules. I'm available, but that's more you two.
Yeah, I mean. there's-
And Courtney's
And Courtney.
schedule.
Thank you.
Oh,
And the other thing too is you guys send the bills out. You're probably gonna send the bills out this week so we can stuff,
Oh,
a
Yeah,
reminder in the
those-
bill
The
that
date
everybody would
bill.
know, yeah.
Now, I hopefully she hasn't done those yet, but usually.
She-
we do it
I
by
just
phone
talked to
number.
her.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So,
So if we're gonna look at the calendar, do you want to do that now?
The only thing I can see as a conflict right now is the 13th, I believe. We have an election in Arcadia that day, so I would not be available.
And I'll be out of town. I'm gone 13 through 16.
So what about the 20th?
I'll go the 20th and the 27th.
20th work for you. That'd be one of them. We could do one that day and the other,
We'll do the 20th and 27th.
how does that? That's okay with me.
I'm okay with those.
Okay.
Or could you go 20th and 22nd?
We can do that. We can do it in the same week.
I'm good that way too.
What time are we thinking?
6,
6,
so everybody can get home.
My son has a football game that day, but it's at 4:15, so 6 o'clock should probably be.
So
Is this,
In town.
Yes, it is.
Okay, That'll
I
help,
think, well, yeah, it is.
that'll help a little bit.
the 22nd doesn't work for me, but that's not a reason not to continue if it works for the 3 that have to be there. But the 20th, I'm good.
we need to do Maple River on the 22nd, or is that the right date, 20th? The 20th,
do Maple River the 20th?
Mount Carmel, the 27th. There seems to be some urgency in Maple River.
Okay, so we'll do Maple River on the 20th. In Mount Carmel on the
Do we need-
27th.
We need to reserve the shelter house and are we gonna do them in those cities?
Yeah, and I let those people know if they're, if there's any dates during the week that it will not work, they're supposed to let me know. So I've not gotten any
Okay.
Where would we
calls
be meeting at in Mount Carmel?
at the hall there,
The church hall.
church hall.
Yeah.
So- I just want to make sure I have this right. The 20th, we're gonna do Maple River. And then the 27th,
22nd.
22nd,
This will get it done in 1 week.
22nd, we'll do Mount Carmel.
Is that what Tuesday?
Oh, Shetler House.
It's fine.
I don't think so.
Dean,
Um,
at Dean
do
Shetler's
do we
house.
need, any other department there?
Yeah, I don't think so.
And the sheriff.
Yeah, every time I've
or
been up there,
Traffic
and
issues or?
I'm like you, I've gotten calls on the Maple River and stuff. And it's always been, lately, it's just been the streets. I don't think there's been, well, some issues with, appearance of properties, but other than that, I have not had it.
How about traffic issues in that?
I haven't,
A
I
lot
think
of
since we put
complaints
that,
with Speed.
Just that one
If there-
location.
Yeah, if there's one, if they're, you know.
And I'm
you
sure that will be
did
brought
hit
up.
it. Yeah, it'll be brought up
Okay.
and the.
was there
sheriff-
still an issue with speed yet?
No, a property.
Well, the property, but I
in
mean,
Maple River.
I think we took care of that with that sign on the south
I
side,
don't know if we took care of it or not. We'll find out.
but I think it kind of,
We
at least I
put the
have.
sign up, we put the sign up and I haven't heard anything, so.
That's right.
Speaking of property in Maple River, any decision on that property across by the cemetery?
We're waiting for you.
I did some digging into it. What I haven't found any definite answers yet, but if that was acquired by easement, we don't have the right to sell it. If we go back to the joint property owners. And there's been some history, what we found, that there are some other roads or stub roads that had been given back because it was an easement. I haven't been able to discern whether that for sure is an easement or not, but that's what we're trying to find. So
Probably have to be shared equally amongst
well,
all
it'd be-
connecting properties that it was
Probably
taken. from.
adjacent properties
Right, I
have
mean,
a shot at
taken-
it.
It was taken from the adjacent properties when it was. And the landowners probably maybe have changed, but whoever, those landowners are now is who that would go back to.
Is there any way we can verify was one landowner, two landowners, four landowners that it
Well,
was taken from?
And it doesn't really matter, because if it's an easement, it doesn't serve any purpose to,
There's nothing we can do.
there's nothing we do for a person that would like to acquire it. Because they wouldn't be the adjoining property.
But when we give, if we do decide to get completely abandon it, then it would go back to the property owners. But is there any way we can find out who those people were, whether it was 1, 2, 4 of them?
Possibly.
Would that
I
be,
don't know.
that'll be recorded probably?
Should be.
And and the other part is, I don't even know if it's a good idea anyway. I mean, I don't know what the expansion will be in Maple River, if there ever will be any.
Yeah.
But you hate to cut yourself off if that would ever happen,
Right.
and it probably wouldn't, but weighing that, but I guess the first thing was, if it's an easement, I figured that kind of tells us that.
Now, like when we have that meeting in Maple River, give me a chance to always look at the piece of property too. I don't know exactly where I would look at it, so.
So that's where I'm at with it, I guess.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't know much about the sewer in Maple River, because that's the DNR permitted system. It's maintained by Carroll, still maintaining it. So I don't have much dealings with. the
There hasn't-
sewer there.
It hasn't
That
been,
hasn't been a problem either. So I don't know if you'd have any problem or not.
Yeah,
Mount Carmel,
Maple River, I think we kind of got that headed in a good direction right now.
yeah, I think so.
You know,
As far as.
haven't heard a peep from it.
So should be mostly just Mount Carmel. Okay. Are you gonna get the 2 spaces reserved? Thank you.
Do you want me to check with Jared and see if he would be available?
Yeah, we can do that. That's probably not a bad idea.
It might be a
Well-
small fee for that, because he does charge us for his time.
thing is,
Unless we get questions, we can forward them to him.
that might be a better way. I don't look that we're gonna get much. From Maple
Yeah,
River
you
sewer.
give them the opportunity, they'll take it. If you don't give them the opportunity.
But you know, I was gonna visit him. We used to get always a report from him. We haven't been getting that lately.
That's my fault.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's providing it. I just
You haven't seen.
I have a
it.
big file of them in there, so.
Okay, but
No
there's
changes.
nothing that changed.
No, his hours are remotely the same, roughly, I shouldn't say remotely, roughly the same every. Little more now because he is no longer employed with the city. So before he would put the samples and they would all go together. Well, now we have to do our own.
Where's
So
he
there's a-
employed at?
I'm not sure. Not sure.
Okay.
All right,
The only other thing, when you talk about the sheriff, there is the one property that has been a problem, yeah,
Okay, I'll ask the sheriff if he wants to attend,
you can certainly do that.
to make a
or
river.
he can wait, he can wait till we have a question or a comment and then deal with it, or he can come and.
I can about guarantee that one's coming up. Cause
So, yeah,
I've heard more on that property than I have about the roads, but I have heard
Yeah.
more on that property.
I'll visit with him about it.
all right.
All right,
What time?
6 o'clock.
22nd.
Yep.
20.
All right. Just something else.
If you've been around, Zach, while we're talking about this and the roads, have you been around some of the local communities lately?
How.
Well, did you see what's going on in town? They're just thin coating asphalt. Isn't that just a Band-Aid? But it seems like it holds up that what they did last year.
Where else did they do
I
that?
guess it depends on,
I've seen it down in Coon too. Other
depends
places,
on what the structure is underneath,
you know,
and it depends also if you have what you have for, vertical clearance issues on sidewalks and driveways and all
For
that
drain-
stuff.
for
drainage.
but I mean, like up Mount Carmel, basically their roads aren't that bad. You and I drove up there.
Yeah,
Is that an option?
I think you start, how thin is that?
It's only like that. I don't, I think it's too thin.
well, it sounds like that could crack up after about 5 years and then you gotta.
But you know what? They did it last year. I'm surprised it's even holding in.
Well, maybe the math works out that you get 15 years out of the full lay and you get 7.5 years out of this lay. Comes out the same amount of money.
But
It's just that
Rita's been seal coating for,
Well, Temple was
it's
always
always
done
been
too.
good for years too.
yeah, you know, I mean, that's kind of the argument that I said, well, he's, you know, that's what a lot of people in Mount Carmel don't care for. And
Well, the problem is it bleeds through and if you're out walking,
if you walk in it, you bring it into the house.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of them don't like.
Yep.
And,
We got kids that gets in there. real
Yeah.
good.
I'd say take your shoes off. before you come in the house.
I know, but
But whatever.
It's a rule at my house. I could see if you were out like walking your pets and stuff and they get it on their
Yeah.
toes. and their paws.
All those things are issues, you know, and you made the comment that there's some, you raise it up too much, there's some drainage issues in Mount Carmel.
I could try to look into other methods, Gene, but I mean,
I just see they did it again this year.
I'm not sure how thin that, that they're talking, but a lot of it, to get any structural integrity, you gotta have rock in it, right? So you're supposed to have,
They got rock in it and it's so thin that times
The
the
rock
rock
shows
scrapes.
so technically what you're supposed to have is your thickness is supposed to be 3 times the large
rock?
diameter of your rock.
Well,
So you
they,
get 1/2 inch rock and you should have an inch and a half lower on asphalt.
but somebody's going around selling these communities that.
And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I mean, we've cut down before too, if we've had to, but I mean, still you're not getting the same surface at that point in time either. And if you went up an inch, I think you'd cause problems in Mount Carmel. Maple River, there's some areas you may, there are other areas that you probably wouldn't. So it depends on the terrain and the drainage.
did the tree sap thing fall through the cracks or was it causing a lot of issues? That was a thing 2 years ago that communities tried using tree sap instead of seal coat.
Were they using tree sap for that or were they using it for dust control?
That was dust control, I guess. I
I thought they were using a heavier mix for that.
guess I'm not sure.
And I do know they use it for dust control too.
I think that'd be worse than.
Well, I don't know how it worked out. I don't know if it's a short, for
Yeah,
a month,
bring that
it's a
into
bad
that.
deal and then it gets better or.
I guess I haven't heard much about that.
Okay.
Not saying it's not an option, but I haven't heard much about it.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. All right, we got that
It's
cleared. up.
done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is manure management annual updates. We got one from Joe Nace. Section 19, Nice Township, original plan. Mike Nace. Section 29, Nice Township, original plan. And Bob Danner, section 22, Newton Township, original plan. And committee reports.
I'll go first. Last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, were ISAC convention in Des Moines. A lot of meetings, a lot of learning. And yeah, time well spent. This week, I have Wednesday night, the County City Roundtable in Breeden.
I can go next. Last week was, as he reported, ISAC annual conference. I thought there was a lot of good subjects, a lot of pertinent to what's going on, particularly like pipelines and stuff like that. And I think probably one of the highlights was that the first group of supervisors graduated from the certified supervisors school. And
67 people.
67 people. And so this week I have tomorrow night I have new opportunities board meeting. I got pushed back on different things. And then also I've got the county roundtables at Breeden on Wednesday.
I can go next. Same thing. I had ISAC last week. Again, great meetings, a lot about the pipelines, different budgets, whether it was city or school budgets. And then how counties and cities and other different partnerships can work together, collaborate to move economic development. This week, I have the roundtable in Breeden on Wednesday. And that is it.
Last week, the only thing I've had was, we did some more benefit meetings after the board meeting on Monday. More information gathering. And we'll be doing more of that in the future. I did not have anything else the rest of the week. I did make a phone call to Silver Queen. And that was in regard to the email that I got received from them in error, because that was a different project. I thought maybe they were getting ready to pull the trigger and start on the wind turbine project in the western part of the county. But I did have a good conversation with them, and he may be making a presentation to us about doing an MOU instead of maybe an ordinance change, making us jump all those hoops.
For wind
So,
turbine or what
For
project?
the wind turbines,
Okay.
when they get a
So
little
Silver
closer.
Queen is the
Yeah,
company for.
Yeah, that's the land acquisition company.
Okay.
And, but he may come and visit with us, and I told him that we were open, just let us know, and we'll find a slot for him to come and visit. That's all I had last week. This week I have the round table on Wednesday, and that was it.
Okay, last week I had the insurance benefit meeting on Monday after the meeting, and Clark Nelson came up and gave us a lot of good information, and we sent a lot of questions back with him. Hopefully we'll be able to add some structure to what we come up with. That was a good meeting.
Yeah.
Then on Wednesday, I had a Region 5 hazmat meeting up in Fort Dodge. They give an incident report, and one of probably the most concerning ones was a situation that happened on Old Highway 20, just east of Fort Dodge. So it'd be like within a mile. And it was a co-op was pulling a, what are they? What are the big ones? 3,000? Is it 3,000 gallon? Big.
In hydrous, or what?
And hydrous. Yeah.
Probably.
You have the doubles and then you have the big single with the 2 wheels in front.
There's 3,000.
Triples,
I think
they're
it's
3,000, right? Because that's what I thought they said. Well, he was pulling that and he had tire issues. And he was limping it into Fort Dodge, and it must have got going a little bit too fast. And it flipped, it rolled the pickup in the ditch, and the units, the anhydrous unit stayed on the road, but went over on its side and put a little bit of at the valve, put a little bit of a crack in that. And they had a video of it, and it was, I mean, the wind was out of the south, so it went, to the north. There was a cornfield there that it just fried that corn. And I mean, the comment, and the good thing about it was they've got this image that immediately they can, by the wind direction, the speed of the wind, any other factors that come in, they can immediately have a profile of who's in danger of that. And they can get everybody out as quickly as possible when that happens. So that was good. I didn't know that they could do that. You probably knew that, Gene, but it was pretty impressive. But the thing that was concerning to me, was between Fort Dodge and then there was this accident, and then there was this little acreage out here that has 2 elderly people in it. And if that would have happened there, they would have been deceased, because that's how
It's too.
it was so that was concerning to me. I mean, when that can happen anywhere, I guess. And, when that, there was some people upstream that did evacuate. They saw it coming and they got out of the way, and I live a quarter mile, and we just had the Templeton thing. They moved it out in the country. I don't know if anybody's really safe from that stuff if something would happen,
Sort of the pressure and the whole tank, all 3,000 gallons were depleted into
They
the
just let it
atmosphere.
bleed until they could. Now they got suits. They went up to it, and they could see what the issue was, and they could see if they could remedy it. But there's really nothing they could do. What's that?
Cracked right next to the tank.
Yeah.
When they make those, evidently they don't make a cage over the.
There was a
top of
cage
that.
around it. That was the whole thing. I don't know if it was just a stress fracture or something like that, that just the motion of it hitting the ground.
It didn't have
Wasn't
holes
enough
in it, it got pinched and folded.
No,
Well, because I just thought maybe, a cage over the top and keep
keep it
like you
guarded.
do like a 20-pound cylinder of propane, you had.
Right.
Why is that top so high? Well, that is to keep something from hitting that valve.
To
The
protect.
bigger tanks have a kind of a backbolt that if it goes too fast, there's another valve and it's slams it shut.
It's like a sewer
So I
valve.
don't know what
It only
happened
goes-
there. Now, maybe being it's on its upside down or something.
It wasn't the valve that broke. It was like a weld or something.
Or
On
where
that.
it,
Where it cracked. It wasn't the valve that. It was, I mean, they said it was only like an inch, but it was really.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure there, obviously.
Well,
But that was concerning to me, and
so where does that, because we've heard these stories, let me ask you this one, because we've heard this story that co-ops have their own hazmat company that they hire, to come take care of those things. Did they come take care of it? And how long was the response? Because of that plume that goes out, how long was their response? I mean,
well,
Those
they
are
were pretty
questions.
quick. I mean, the guy that was in the pickup, luckily he was okay, and he got out of the pickup, but then he wanted to go back because he left his phone there. And he probably wanted to call, but I'm sure that he was able to, call the co-op and they had somebody there. It took 4 hours.
To bleed out.
Yeah, so I mean, and then when they came, the tow truck put it on a co-op's flatbed and hauled it back to the co-op again, but the alarming thing is that, yeah, this could really cause some issues and
expenses to the counties, I mean, to the hazmat, I mean, there are people there, you've got evacuations, there's a lot of expenses that go along with that too.
yeah, and the expense, I mean, the co-op will have to cover those expenses. So that's a good part of this thing, but we also had the process of a 5-year plan. And so the fire chief for the Fort Dodge Department facilitated that 5-year plan where we strengths and weaknesses and that whole process. And I guess what I came away from that with this and with that is that, we'd probably, and I brought it up as far as the equitability of the contribution, that I think there's a big disparity there between Webster County and Carroll County, yet we pay the second highest contribution of everyone of all 9 counties.
And how many times have we utilized?
That's the issue. And so, but I said, well, I think that's a weakness. And I says, I'm not writing it up. I'm not putting it up. He didn't put it up.
And I don't know how else you bill for it because it's a per capita is probably and we are the second highest per capita of the
Yeah.
group. So, I mean, I just don't know how else you formulate it. to
Well,
make it work.
Well,
It could be,
I think one of the biggest issues is unknowns is what travels through the county. It's not what generated.
oh, yeah.
Well, that's true. And we don't have anything to do with the railroads. All that hazmat will probably not come down if there's a railroad issue.
Local fire
Department
department
have to
just contain.
You contain the area.
They come
and
in on
move
their
people.
helicopters.
Well, it's, the railroad companies, if hazmat comes down, they won't pay a bill.
Yep, they take care of their own.
They take care of their own. So, but you're right, Gene, things that could come through on Highway 30 or Highway 71. But up there in Webster and Hamilton and Wright County, you have Interstate 35 and you have Highway 20. So, you have 2 4 lanes that have a considerable amount of more.
Car count's a lot higher
Yes.
in their county than there's.
And there's a lot of material moving through on Interstate 35, but so that didn't get anywhere. But I guess my takeaway from that whole thing was maybe we need to address the fact that they need to, and I made this comment, that you need to come down here and start training our people, because that's part of what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to talk to the fire departments and get them to start addressing that.
So that idea.
Yeah,
he was
they
like-
do training.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do. If we have an incident like this, we need to know what to do. So I guess that's my takeaway from that.
Okay.
And that was it. The 5-year plan is what it is. And I guess I can report on that the next time when it comes out at our next meeting. That was my week. I did get a couple calls, and Zach and I hope we do some work on this on bridge weight restrictions. So we're going to address that this morning. Otherwise, all I have this week is the Carroll County Roundtable meeting on Wednesday. So
All right, Courtney.
We are going to meet on Tuesday next week. As of right now, looks like we're just. Yeah, I think we are gonna do them on the 6th. Sure. Right now, all I have is the payables and then we have the county substance abuse prevention services agreement. And that's with new opportunities. Just needs a chair signature, so.
Boy, it just seems like we're doing
I
that
know.
all the
Well,
time.
that's state required. That's
That's
every, I
insane.
think.
I
Is
every
there
quarter-
I
any
get it,
comments
but-
online?
You know, I will also have, I should report on this. Yesterday, I went over to the tractor ride in my backyard and I met with a gentleman from Manning. And is concerned about advocating for help for substance abuse and mental health. And I give him your name. So he's- and mental health about, you know, the cold, you know, the cold dependency or what you call it, cold current issues. So about advocating for funding for that and so on.
Oh, with the opioid.
Well,
Or
I
just money in
mentioned
general.
that opioid would be some, but I don't know if that'll help with mental health, but I'm not sure. I'm sure there's gonna be some rules
Okay.
to tie to that, but I give them your name, so.
Okay.
Because you're on the region, so.
Ben or Dalton, is there anything online?
No comments online.
You wanna do all that stuff this morning?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
You guys have a nice day.
Thanks, man.
Uh-oh.
Forgot to hit record.